Hi, I'm Mira May, and this is Sweet Spectre, and we are coming at you for a new episode of the newly christened 13 Club podcast. Yay! What is this, episode 7, I believe?
Yeah, technically 7. It's like the first of our new name, but we're just gonna keep going with the number of series.
Does that undo the 13? Does the lucky number 7 undo the 13, or does the 13 overpower the 7?
Let's just hope they work together in harmony so that they're spooky but also successful.
Right. Yeah. That's the best of both worlds.
I don't think that's how that works.
We're gonna really Hannah Montana it here.
I'm not a numerology expert.
I've never seen Hannah Montana, so my metaphor was terrible.
I saw a really funny Hannah Montana joke the other day, and now I've forgotten what it is, so... Oh, it's Overwatch related, so don't worry about it.
Okay, well, never mind.
Okay, so this week we are playing a little bit of catch-up because I have been ill. I'm not going to go into super whiny detail about it, but I have fibromyalgia and I got a new doctor when I moved and we're switching over my medications, and it's been a little bit difficult for me to work my job and then also come home and do this. So hopefully we're back on track now, though.
Yes. I think this will put us back on schedule for a little while.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Can you go first? And
yeah.
That way mine will be sandwiched in the middle.
Okay, that's a good idea. So, this is another shout out to Jacob McCauley because he emailed me and was like, oh, wow, I forgot that, I never sent you guys the stories about my hometown.
Yeah, after we publicly shamed him on the internet.
Aggressively.
Yeah.
And so he typed up a Word document with one of his stories. So I'm extra lazy this week, and he did my work for me. So thanks.
I'm excited to hear this. I didn't even know he'd emailed you back until you mentioned it. I know.
It
was a big surprise.
And I actually haven't read it yet because I wanted us to experience it for the first time together.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So I'm going to start. I'll just read it.
Please do.
In southwest Missouri, where I grew up, there was an older farmer that my family had known for years named Ira. He had a house on the edge of town right on the Arkansas border. The house was a turn of the century farmhouse on top of a ridge, with the typical arch windows above a walkout porch surrounded by hundreds of acres of serene Ozark highlands. It was a scenic area down one of the main roads leaving town, but it still felt quite a ways off the beaten path. It looks and feels like something out of a different time. During the summer between high school and my first year of college, I had a group of friends that came over to my parents' house every single night. One night, we started talking about some ghost stories. It's important to know that I don't consider myself a believer, but I am certainly open to getting spooked for fun. Well, one of those friends was the nephew of the elder Ira. Ira's son was named Ira. Not Ira Jr., just Ira. He had recently begun taking care of the home where his father lived. The nephew, who we can call Dan, was convinced that he had seen his great-grandmother, the original owner of the house, waving at him through the windows above the porch. Of course, I didn't believe a word he said. So I committed to spending a night at Ira's house just to prove to him that he was getting scared over nothing. After talking a while, I had a day off coming up, and I promised I wasn't scared of no ghostly grandma. So, we made the plans to meet during the day and explore the expanse of land on horseback and spent the night at Ira's with a few other friends. Dan and I finally met at Ira's, grabbed our bags and jumped on a couple of horses and disappeared into the woods on a hot mid-July day. This sounds like I'm there. You're a good writer. I'm into it. We explored most of the land, including a supposed Civil War graveyard. Stopped at some creeks to fish and headed back to the house around dusk. When we were back at the house, Dan decided to take me upstairs and show me the room where all the neighbors and relatives visiting would see the grandmother waving at them. The house was hot. There was no central air, only ceiling fans. Between the wood paneling and the distinct antique store smell, I started feeling pretty uncomfortable. Even worse, the shag carpet. Apparently, this home had been restored in the late 1970s and left alone since. I could taste the mothballs that some ancient granny stored with her blankets in every linen closet. We walked from the entrance way to the back of the home to access the stairs. It was built exactly like an old farmhouse. It was very functional with no frills. It was built to house a family that worked hard on the farm every day. When we reached the back of the home near the kitchen, I was physically sick to my stomach as we rounded the room to walk up the stairs. Dan explained to me that he hadn't been upstairs in a few years. I didn't exactly want to know why at the moment, but I asked anyway. He told me that he went upstairs to get some sleep one night, and when he was staying at the home. When he got to the top of the stairs, he started to feel like he was about to meet someone in the room he was sleeping in. As he entered the room, he stopped to reach in the dark to find a pull chain for the ceiling light. He heard what he thought was a person walking up the stairs say, "Oh, no, 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 no. He's in the green room again." The second he found the light and turned it on and realized that it was a dingy room with green wallpaper. Immediately, Dan ran out of the room to see no one in the hallway. This really upset him, and he ran back down the stairs to tell Ira. Ira simply responded with, "Yep, that's Grandma's room. You can sleep in the one across the hall. No one will bug you in there." Needless to say, Dan slept on the couch downstairs that night. He slept right next to Ira, who we later found out had not been upstairs in his own home in several years, because Granny likes to talk too much when he's trying to sleep. Old Granny had passed away in 1980. Baby Ira, as we call him, took over the care of the home from his father in 2010. Meanwhile, I am standing midway up the stairs, trembling, listening to Dan's reasoning as to why he just doesn't go upstairs at Ira's home anymore. I'm a 6'3", 220-pound man with a black belt in martial arts, and I would imagine I still had a gun on me from being in the woods. But I couldn't take another step up the stairs because of a granny that wasn't even alive anymore. I finally told Dan I wasn't following him and made the long walk, even though I ran, back to meet Ira in the new addition of his home that he had built to smoke cigars and play poker in. It was home to me, good enough. I was no longer terrified. I was ready to forget all about the mothball hell of an upstairs in this farmhouse. As the night progressed and the cigars got shorter, we started sharing our ghost stories. I thought it was a bad time to do so, as I was still shaking, but I hung around anyway. It was getting late, and we were waiting on a couple of friends to come over and join us after they got off work. I had finally seen lights in the window, indicating Cody had finally showed up. As I heard the distinct sound of the front door shut, I jumped out of my seat to welcome our new guest. I walked through the house to meet him. At least, I would have back up in case Granny decided to mess with us again. But when I entered the living room, I watched the door slowly close from being fully open. No one had entered the home. With my newly paled face, I walked back to the cigar and poker room to let my friends know I would politely be getting the hell out of this house and going back to my home. I recall telling Ira, "Well, I thought Cody finally showed up, but apparently nobody came in." Ira kindly let me know, "That's just Granny coming back in with the groceries." As he chuckled, I, even more politely, let Ira know that I was over this bullshit and I was going home. Dan and Ira proceeded to laugh at me and tell me they swore I didn't believe in ghosts. Well, I didn't, and I'm a grown-ass man. But I need one of you guys to walk me out to my truck, I said. Dan said he would walk me to the front door, which I was very comforted with until I realized my truck was still at least 100 yards from the front door, up by the horse barn. I eventually made it to my truck, with every possible meaning of the term power walking. I hopped in my truck, put a key in the ignition, and started it up. As the old beat-up truck engine turned over and eventually started, I was suddenly pushed back with what felt exactly like 2 hands on my chest, throwing me back in the old bench seat. My head shot up and immediately focused on the shed next to Ira's home. I have absolutely no explanation for what happened to me next as I watched a beautiful woman in a torn white gown walk out of the shed and creep her way towards my truck.
What?
She appeared to move slowly, but made quick work of the distance between my vehicle and shed. As she started to put her hand on the front of my truck, I instantly felt hands let go of my chest. My headlights burst on and she disappeared. Once I regained composure of myself and took control of my truck, I backed out as quickly as I could, sped home, and felt someone was following me the whole way home. As soon as I made it home, I ran inside and went straight to my room and turned on the TV, radio, and yanked any book from my shelves to focus on anything I could to help me forget what I had seen. Eventually, I fell asleep. Dan had finally sent me a text message the next morning, curious if I had made it home okay. He was standing at the front door and heard my truck stall until I eventually got it to start. He didn't see anything that I saw clear as day. I don't think I ever completely shared with him what happened that night. That event truly disturbed me, and I have only shared it with a few close friends. I hope you enjoyed my story. I've never been back to Ira's house since that night, and I have never seen him around town. I became a believer in something that night, even though I'm still not sure what happened.
Wow, that's pretty intense. That's a really incredible story.
Okay, first, I'm flattered that you would share that story with us.
Yes. Thank you.
And that you would be willing to let us read it on the podcast. So, thanks a lot. That was a good story, and you are a good writer.
Yeah, definitely, for real. When you were talking about the no air conditioner and, like, the mothball smell, like, I have been in old people houses in the, like, stifling feeling where you can't breathe. Like, I can... You're very descriptive.
Yeah. I try to do it justice. I'm very insecure of my own reading, but I'm practicing more, and I'm trying to be less nervous about it. So I tried to do okay.
You did a good job, too.
Thank you.
Good job.
I didn't want to slaughter it.
Right. Like, but no, that's a pretty crazy experience.
I like how, my favorite part is that they're just like, yeah, that's just Grandma coming home with the groceries.
But that wasn't Grandma that came, like, up to the truck, though, right?
I don't know. Maybe it was young Grandma.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Saucy Minx Grandma.
Oh my goodness. That's completely recontextualized the whole story.
Zach Bagans would be very jealous.
Yeah. What was that one where they're in the episode of Ghost Adventures where they're in a brothel? And he was like...
Yeah. He's like,
someone's trying to touch me.
No,
if you're a
there's that one.
Ghost.
Yeah, he's trying to get a woman ghost to touch him that time. And then the other one was like, I forgot the episode and I really should look it up, but it was an episode where apparently this woman was like a black widow, and she would come to or she would invite men over and she'd sleep with them and then she'd murder them.
Oh.
And Zach's like, so you're telling me that she does the chitty chitty bang bang and then she murders them? And he said something about, like, do you think I could do it? Do you think I could, like, have chitty chitty bang bang with her?
Oh, no,
and
Zach.
not get and then creep away before she has a chance to kill me? And the woman that he's talking to is like, I don't know. Are you good at chitty chitty bang bang?
Oh,
and and Zach was like, I think so.
Oh, no.
There's a gift set of it somewhere. I've used it before. I'll post it.
That's good. I don't know. I think had I been in that situation, my first instinct, just because I'm, like, interested in hauntings, and I've gone to, like, a couple different places for the express purpose of trying to see a ghost, as I know you have as well. I feel like...
Oh, totally.
I feel like that young lady ghost would have been such a surprise to me once the shock had worn off and I had stopped, like, completely shivering, I'm sure. I would be really into trying to look up, like, who owned that house before. Like, has it always been in their family? Or has, like, another family lived there? Maybe someone, like, died and were buried on the property back in, like, ye olde.
Yeah, you're curious to know if it's a different woman, perhaps?
I want to know who it is. I don't know. As we know from the episode that I did about Nell Cropsey, my desire to know is probably too strong.
Oh, well,
my research, my ability to, or my, like, desire to research this kind of stuff is, like, too much.
I think we both get that way. We're both, like, very, we want you know, like, I have experienced spooky things, and I promise I'll talk about them on the podcast. But my initial, like, I've never been, like, touched by anything weird. But my initial reaction, the couple times I've experienced something, has just been like, I'm trying to rationalize this. I'm really trying to explain it. Like, I'm going over and over and over trying to figure out the right answer to the situation. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get, like, spooked until I realized I couldn't.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I have stories about my parents' house that is actually on the market right now. That we had. So if you guys want to buy a haunted house.
Yeah, if you guys want to buy that house.
If you want to live in Virginia and you want to buy a haunted house, then I'll let you know.
It's a nice house. I've been there. I've spent time in that house.
That house was my bubble in my world. But yeah, there's some spooky stuff going on there. My grandma has stories. I have stories. My mom has stories. So my grandma's stories are the best ones, and I'll tell them at some point. Anyway, thank you.
Yes, we
Jacob.
really enjoyed that story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
And I'm sorry I didn't email you back to let you know I received it.
Well, it will be as much of a surprise for him that you received it as it was for me to know that he sent it.
Yeah.
Surprise!
I'm keeping secrets from all of you.
Oh my god. If anyone else has any stories you'd like to share,
totally
email us.
You can comment. Or you can email me, and it's just Spectre, SPECTRE, at ominousglitch.com.
Yes. But yeah, that's really fun. I loved that story. I want to hear more stories from people.
I know. He said he has more. I'm waiting. I'm excited.
You're going to guilt him into a round 2? What are you, some kind of a monster?
Yeah. He's like our official, like, third podcaster here.
Not to change the subject, but I think this is just like a quick thing, just talking about scary things. This happened last night. We live in DC. We live in, like...
By we, she means her and her partner. I live in Florida.
Yes. Not we as Inspector and I.
Yeah.
But we live
But I used to live very close to her.
That's true. We live in Northwest DC. And very specifically, we live literally around the corner from a grocery store that's 24 hours. So I was up late. I was working on a sewing project. I ran out of, like, basic white thread. And I was like, I'm going to walk up to the grocery store and see if they have basic white thread and pick some up and continue to obsessively work on this.
Did they?
They did.
Oh, nice.
But I got the thread. It was fine. And on the way back, there are 2 apartment buildings that you pass before you get to our block. And one of them is, like, kind of older and not as nice. And one that's, like, newer, it looks like, maybe it's only a few years old, to be honest. It's got lots of, like, big glass walls and stuff. But, out in front of that building, there are a lot of people that, like, hang out and, like, smoke and drink and stuff. And there was a woman out there kind of walking around, and it looked like she was smoking, and I just, started to walk past and didn't think anything of it. And as I was walking past her, she moved, like, really close to me. Like, she kind of got in what I would consider my personal bubble for just, like, walking on, like, an empty sidewalk at probably 1 a.m. As opposed to, like, a busy sidewalk in the middle of the day or something. But, like, she just got way too close to me, and she was talking in kind of a low voice, and I honest to God, couldn't tell if she was speaking a foreign language or if she was slurring her words worse than I've ever heard anyone slur their speech before. And as I passed her, and I kind of, like, looked at her a little bit and then just, like, kept walking, and as I got past her, she said something, and all I could make out was, I wonder what he's gonna do to you. And,
no!
Yeah. And I just, like, kept going. I didn't turn around. I didn't say anything. And she just said, be careful. And started to laugh like a fucking, like, horror movie villain. Like, I'm not even shitting you.
I believe you, but if it was anyone else, I would doubt it.
No, I like, immediately, I had my phone out already, because I was, like, checking Twitter or something stupid, and I, like, immediately pulled up my messenger, and I sent a message to my partner back at the apartment, like, a woman just said the scariest thing to me, like, if I'm not back in the apartment in, like, 3 minutes, you need to come find me. You need to come find me. And I, like, so, like, there's the 2 apartment buildings, then there's an alleyway, and then there's the houses that's on my block, and I half expected someone to be in that alleyway, like, waiting for someone to walk by. Like, did not know what to think. It was not smart to walk out at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I will fully admit that, but I also was literally going a block away, and I didn't expect
I worry about you so much in DC. Like, this is another topic, but I do really worry about you all of the time. Because, like, just a few times I've, like, you know, we've been on the subway and stuff together, almost always something weird happens.
Yeah, that's true. One day we'll have to tell the stories about, we live in Northwest DC now, but when we lived on Capitol Hill,
Angel
we had
Lady.
some pretty bizarre things happen to us. Some of you guys, as I'm thinking about it, one of the stories, the guy who came to our door, which I will get into someday, I guess that was like a hot thing on Reddit for a second, so I think it would be kind of funny if I told that story and someone would be like, oh yeah, I saw that on Reddit, you know.
Oh, yeah, that would be
2 years ago or whatever when it happened. I feel like
we're being so vague, but we will tell you guys about these stories.
Yes, I want to like give it the proper.
We're just trying to bait you into not
thing
giving
it
up on our
deserves.
podcast, all right?
Hey, I don't think we're that hard up. I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're doing
but
good.
no, that was just like incredibly creepy last night, and I definitely like double checked all the locks and stuff before. And when I say I mean I asked my partner to double check all the locks before we went to
Maybe
bed.
this is where you find out that your partner has been like playing the long game with the murder of you.
Oh my god, yeah.
And like, you know, she previously just escaped him barely.
Oh my god. The woman?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
That
mean,
would
she
be
knows
nuts.
Paul Batted, and Paul Batted is one of our Ominous Glitch
Co-writers.
employees that I
Yeah.
don't pay.
Hey. That's so funny you say that.
He'll guest sometime.
Yeah, he definitely should guest. We just watched a episode of a TV show that had a segment about like TV docudramas, like true crime dramas, and how it's always the husband did it. And I leaned over to him and I said, "Are you gonna murder me one day too?" And he was like, I don't have the energy for that. And also, where am I gonna get an owl at this time of year?
Staircase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yay. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
What you got for me this week?
So this week, I picked a topic that I've kind of had on my mind for a little while, and I thought I could dig into it and find a little bit more information. Not a whole lot. I didn't want to go crazy like I did last time, but a little bit more.
I think we all appreciate your crazy.
Sometimes I don't appreciate my crazy.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, I didn't find as much as I thought. I think what's out there is pretty much just about all that's out there. So I drew my information primarily from a YouTube video by Scare Theater, and then
I love Scare Theater.
a little bit from someone called Gloomy House. All the information that I came across was pretty much the same everywhere, and Scare Theater did the best job at compiling it into one video. So that's the
He's good.
yeah, that's the reference I'm going to use for this.
That's who Nightmare Expo says was his biggest inspiration.
Really? Scare
Yeah.
Theater? Huh.
Mhm.
I thought Scare Theater was newer for some reason.
No, he's been doing it longer.
Really?
Yeah, he is very good, and
He is.
I feel like I've never mentioned him on here, but I guess this will be like tiny shout out corner. But I think my favorite creepy YouTubers are Rainbot, Scare Theater. I used to really like Nightmind, but lately he hasn't been posting as much. But I do like his old stuff.
Yeah, I noticed he's doing a lot of like he interacts a lot more with his like fans and followers, but his like content I feel like has changed and is less frequent.
Lazy, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Lazy Masquerade, very good, pleasant accent. And one that I don't think I've ever mentioned, but I think I've sent you some of his videos, but he's absolutely one of my favorites. And I've been watching him he's one of the ones I've been watching the longest, but his name is DeBurk321.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned him recently.
DeBurk shout out to DeBurk, you are rad, and I love your videos, and you have a also very pleasant accent.
Well, so I guess main big ups to Scare Theater for this episode. So what I chose to talk about today was the Facebook page Hanna-Barbera's Hennicide. which I think you mentioned, you brought it up to me once. You were looking through my notes on the board, and you saw the picture, and you were like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, I know, it's pretty fucked up looking, right?
Okay, so that's spelled AHENOBARBUS
space.
Space HENOCIED.
Yes.
Right, and I've seen these pictures before.
Okay, so here we go. A Facebook page used to exist, at one time existed, called Ahenobarbus Hinnicide, or Hinnicide, from beginning in June 2015. It is no longer active, or rather the original page is no longer active. There are a lot of, like, copycat pages now, and apart from Facebook, like, copycat Twitters and copycat, other social media things. But it started as a Facebook page in June 2015. Most of what was on the page was in Spanish, and the rumor was that the owner of the page, like, it was kind of almost an urban legendy thing, like, it existed and you could go and look at it, but people didn't, for reasons that will probably become clear. But the rumor was that if you went to interact with it, like if you went to send a message to it or something, it would respond to you, or if you liked their page, sometimes it would respond to you by sending you disturbing images and sometimes coordinates.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of those images.
Yeah, and the rumor was that also sometimes it would target children, like younger kids that have Facebooks, that it would out of the blue just send them those kinds of images and coordinates.
Okay.
Someone named Lunk, this is a Reddit user, not just someone, a Reddit user named Lunk Alarm, LUNK-ALARM, and I couldn't find the original post, but I saw the screenshot that Scare Theater used, said, quote, "I totally, and probably for the best, forgot about this thing. I stumbled upon this a while back. Definitely a rabbit hole to go down, but bring translate. It seems a lot of response and documentation is in Spanish. When I saw the page on Facebook, there were extreme gore photos up for a few hours and a video of illegal content, put it that way. I scrolled down and it auto-played for a fraction of a second, and I recognized what it was and promptly left and reported them." Which, if you can't guess, the illegal content is definitely child porn.
Yeah.
Someone else, a Reddit user named Radaniel, Radaniel 9, mentioned, and I can't back this up, but they mentioned that the FBI are currently looking for whoever the original creator of the page was, which was posted like roughly 3 years ago. So I don't know if the FBI were ever looking for this person, if they still are. There is a Scare Theater forum. Someone on the Scare Theater forum claims to know a victim of Ahenobarbus Hinnicide. Scare Theater forum user Deep Night 3301, that's KNIGHT, said, "Actually, I came across a 10-year-old who was supposedly victim to this. She claimed to have been 15 in her Facebook profile, but since she had posted numerous selfies of herself and her gaming channel, she was clearly younger than what she claimed to be. She told me that she'd received a link to a Minecraft page from a user with a confusing long name beginning with an H, and upon clicking the link, it took her straight to a sex website. Subsequently, she shut the link and has apparently tried to avoid contact with strangers via Facebook since. Could that have been the guy you mentioned in the thread? Possibly, especially with the match in the name description. But hey, you never know with all the sick people out there in social media." So, the idea that somebody with a long, confusing name starting with an A might have randomly sent a 10-year-old porn website or a link to porn does sound kind of like the MO of this Facebook page. The name Ahenobarbus translates to red beard in Latin. There's like a couple of kind of loose theories about the name. For example, Castor and Pollux, the twins of Greek mythology, there's a story that they confirmed that they won a battle by stroking an ancestor's beard, which turned red. There's stuff in history and also in like mythology and stuff about while red hair was originally a sign of divinity, red-haired people, especially those with dark hair but red beards, came to be known as evil, duplicitous, and violent.
Okay.
Which is just maybe a coincidence, but maybe chosen on purpose. I don't know. And it was also a nickname that was passed down for generations in the Roman Republic. No one seems to have figured out the meaning of the name Hinnicide. Other than that, it sounds like genocide.
Right.
So it's possible that it is linked to that. There's one set of coordinates that was sent out by a Hanna-Barbera's Hinnicide, as based on a screenshot, seems to lead to a place called the Harold E. Holt Communications Center, which is a naval site in Western Australia. If you look it up on Google Maps, it does look super weird, but there's no known connection to the gore or the child porn or the user themselves that anyone can figure out. The base was suspected of interfering with aircraft communication, which could have caused some air accidents, but ultimately they were cleared of all wrongdoing. And once again, it's still unclear how that kind of, like an air traffic accident would relate back to a Hanna-Barbera's Hinnicide. This same set of coordinates was followed up by the message, and this is going to sound stupid, Satinama Sinif, which is backwards for Finis Humanitas, the end of humanity in Latin. Someone tried to, they had the theory, if that message is reversed, then maybe the coordinates are reversed. And they looked up what the coordinates were reversed, and it led to a random place in Kazakhstan. Again, don't know what the coordinates mean there, if there's any relation to anything. The page has been down, and there are a lot of copycats, like I said before.
I'm on a Twitter copycat right now, on my other screen right now.
Nice. You can, if you go into the Wayback Machine, you can see a cached version of it from 2015. It was...
I will do that, even though no one else probably should.
Yeah, probably don't do that. I think the images don't work. I think they're mostly broken. But the page, it's interesting.
But there are a lot of the images on this Twitter.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the page was listed as a church/religious organization. So some people think there might be a religious cult angle.
Right, or it's just like a troll.
Or a troll, yeah, totally. I mean, a pretty disgusting troll, but a troll nonetheless. The images are mostly gone, but the captions are still there, and many of them are disturbing, as you might imagine. I took special interest, not a super special interest, but some interest in the main image that you get when you look up at Hanna-Barbera's Hinnicide, which is this white face with really big, kind of like bugged out eyes that look a little bit bloody, and like a mouth. It
looks
that's
like a
big
face
smile.
like made out of paper mache.
Kinda. So
like it looks like the skin is made out of paper mache, and then there's like a giant set of eyes and like
a big mouth
with no lips, and everything looks like vaguely bloody around the edges.
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy.
Well, I thought it was super creepy, and that the first time I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? And that's what made, like, put the seed in my brain to be like, you should remember to look this up later for the podcast. But the more I spent time looking at it, because I was looking up all this stuff, the more I, like, kind of tuned out the eyes and mouth, and I looked at it, and to me, it looks like a Japanese, like, mask, or like a doll face, like a Japanese doll face. It has this very, like, porcelain skin look and the, like, soft brushstroke eyebrows.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, my thought was that the face was built on top of a, like, Japanese mask or a Japanese doll's face.
Like photoshopped onto?
Yeah. The image, if you reverse image search it, the earliest it ever appears is in a creepypasta called Gurgles and Bugman, which that creepypasta itself predates the Hanna-Barbera's Hinnicide Facebook page. I didn't take the time to look up that actual creepypasta for myself, but that's something I probably should do. Let's see. There was some belief that whoever created and managed the page was also the creator and manager of several, like, secret Facebook groups, which had the sole purpose of trafficking in child porn. But if they're secret Facebook groups, I don't know who would ever know. It's not like
Right.
it's not like
And
most
there's,
people
like,
are going around
there's so
joining
many
that.
There's so many of those rumors, too.
Right. There's a lot of this was really hard to substantiate. And
Right.
so my information for a lot of this is really flimsy. So don't hold me too strictly to any of it.
Well, right. It's just, like, kind of a mysterious thing in general that nobody really knows the answer to.
Right. As far as the last thing that I found in my research, and I felt justified because it backed up my Japanese doll face theory, is that somebody I found on, like, a creepypasta amino post.
Which we are not sponsored by.
Not-
I know a lot
yeah.
of people are, but we are not
Not-
sponsored by anyone.
Nope.
Please sponsor us.
Anybody. But the user who I neither know how to pronounce their name, nor do I want to. I'll spell it because I feel like if I try to pronounce it, it's gonna sound stupid. But it's long. It's FUKIDAKIDIKBICH. Fucky ducky dick bitch. I don't know.
Yep. I found them.
They said that it's from a 2004 Japanese screamer.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
no, but I couldn't find the screamer either.
So, it reminds me of that Japanese artist. You know the one I'm talking about? It has, like the women with, like, the really long necks, and they look, like, super creepy. I feel like
That sounds familiar.
I can figure it out because DeBurk did a haunted paintings video, which I love, and he used it in there.
Oh, okay.
And at the bottom, he cites where all the pictures are from and the names of them. Just kidding, he doesn't. He might have put it in the comments. I swear he did it. This is not DeBurk, that's why.
Well, that will be your first problem.
The hell are you? No. I was hoping kind of it would just show up in Google Images. I have to tell you. So, like, if you have anything else to say, go ahead.
I mean,
I'm just gonna...
That's it. That's my wrap up. Is I chose this topic based on, like, a really creepy image. I did some digging, and it's a Facebook page that, to all intents and purposes, did exist, that posted gore and child porn and harassed users at random for interacting with it or not interacting with it. And you were especially prone to be a victim if you were underage. But they seem to have vanished from, at least from Facebook. Nobody knows, as far as I know, who was behind it. And that's really it. It was very mysterious and weird. None of the information really adds up, which makes me even more interested in it. Like, unless it's just straight up a troll posting, like, stereotypical creepy things, like, you know, backwards messages and coordinates and sending gross things. It doesn't feel like an ARG. It doesn't feel like it's do anything there, and I feel like having it go to an Air Force base seems kind of interesting, but...
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Ugh.
Some Batman for you there.
Yeah.
Some corny Joker
boy.
stuff. Oh, Lord. The artist that I was thinking of, her name is Yuko Tatsushima.
Okay.
And one of her most famous paintings, like just the eyes, I guess, really remind me of this. And I feel like if you look it up, you're going to be like, oh, I know this.
I might.
But since that was, like, relatively short, I just wanted to, like, I'm not going to do a full topic on this, but, it's really thunderstormy here, so that's just going to be on the video, and also my dog's barking because she's very afraid. She's not alone, don't worry. There was a, person on the internet, who had a Tumblr, and their name was Coldness in My Heart.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of them?
No. Not that I know of.
So, everyone do yourself a favor and do not look this up.
Oh, God.
Unless you absolutely want to, and you want to see something that has, and still looking at it now fucking haunts me.
Oh, jeez. Coldness in my heart?
Coldness in my heart. And the reason why I bring it up is because that Twitter page that was just like kind of rehashing that Facebook page, they posted a picture from Coldness in My Heart. Mm-hmm. Now, Coldness in My Heart was a girl who was incredibly depressed and hurt herself so severely that I don't know how she is alive. And honestly, I do not think she is still alive.
Wow.
And at first I thought maybe it was just like a special effects artist, but there are normal pictures of her out there where you can see the scarring on her body.
Wow.
And it is some of the most severe scar. It's literally the most severe self-injury I have ever seen. It is straight up gore. It is disgusting. It is horrible. I literally, the first time I saw it, was gasping and holding my hand over my mouth. And the creepiest thing about it is that... Hold the phone.
Uh-oh. Okay.
This always happens. I feel like whenever we look up things, there's always, like, breaking news suddenly that, like, I stumble across. So I just, like, Googled her, and I've Googled her before, and she dropped off the internet. Like, she used to post pictures of her self-injury, and it's, like, really, really insane self-injury. Mm-hmm. And somebody just posted 9 months ago. Oh. So I haven't looked her up in, like, a good year or more. And they says, I think I just saw Coldness in My Heart. It says, I'm in Berlin at the moment. Saw a girl in her late 20s, early 30s. She had scars on her cheeks in a similar location to the pictures, and her face looked familiar. Then it fucking clipped. It's Coldness in My Heart. Wow. Her ex's Tumblr said he wasn't sure where she was or if she was dead. She could still fucking be around. She disappeared. So, and like people were trying to talk to her ex-boyfriend about her and where she went. And he said he didn't know. But if you ever do look her up,
be prepared, I guess.
Be incredibly prepared, because this is some really, really, really messed up stuff. And especially if you're anybody who is triggered by self-injury, please don't look it up.
I'd never heard of this person before.
One of the pictures was a picture from Coldness in My Heart. It was one of her images, and I remember it, and it stood out to me, and it just reminded me of her, and I was just like, I'll bring it up, because it's not enough information to do a whole segment, but
hey, man,
kind of related, I guess, because they used her images for shock.
It makes sense. It works.
Very, very sad. I really hope that she got help and she's okay.
Maybe she is.
Maybe she is. Maybe that was her and she's still alive. Anyway, that got real sad real fast.
Yeah. Do you have a superstition for us?
I, found the book. The cats have been destroying my house. I adopted kittens a few months ago, and they were 2 months old when they were 2 months old when I got them. And this is a good segue. This is like bringing me out of my sadness a little bit. I got 2 kittens. My fiance is a really big hockey fan, and I have also kind of become a hockey fan because it's so important to him. And so we are Tampa Bay Lightning fans, and we named our cats. So my fiance, his 2 favorite things are dad jokes and hockey. So, which is funny because he's like the most edgelordy, nerdy person I've ever known. But, he's got a lot of different layers to him. He's like an onion.
I was going to make
Shrek
that
jokes.
same joke.
I've seen Shrek, you guys. And he didn't want to get kittens because he said he didn't want poop in the house, and I really wanted them because I left my cat with my mom because he loves her and she didn't want me to take him, and they, he's happy and safe with her.
Well, and you also wanted poop in the house. This was a real point of contention for you guys, right?
I was, like, upset that there wasn't any poop in my house. It just didn't feel like home. So we adopted 2 kittens, and I did it under the guise of, I looked up one of them, my son. I saw his picture online, and I was like, he's so cute. I really want to go look at him. And I was like, we could name him after your favorite hockey player, who is Nikita Kucherov. And I was like, we could call him Nikitty Kucherov. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And then we got there, and Kucherov had a sister that was just, like, madly in love with him and didn't want him to leave and was crying and crying and crying the moment we took him out. And she was so cute, and he was like, are we getting 2 cats right now? And I was like, yeah, we can name her after my favorite hockey player, and she can be Andrei Katsalevsky. So we're real dumb and real sad people. But anyway, now we have 2 cats, so we're less sad.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they're wrecking my house.
Aww.
Like, they've broken numerous things in the past day. Like, in the past day, they broke a tea/juice pitcher, and they broke like a ramekin, and they knocked this book behind my desk, and it blended in with the shadow and the dark flooring, and I literally thought I would never find it again. So I found it.
Yay.
Actually, I didn't. My mans did.
Hey, man, take credit.
Oh, here's a good one. Rope. The use of rope by hangmen in centuries past has endowed it with supernatural powers. Lengths of hangman's rope were credited with all manner of magical properties, including the power to cure various ailments and the general improvements of a person's luck. Using a length of ordinary hemp rope as a belt to keep one's trousers, meanwhile, it is said to cure lumbago. I don't know what lumbago is, but,
That's one of those things I always see places when it's like, oh, my lumbago, and, like, an old person is saying it, but I don't actually know what it is.
Pain in the muscles and joints of the lower back.
Hey, I probably have that.
Yeah. I definitely have that. So, more in keeping with the idea of the rope as a means of execution is the widespread taboo against saying the word rope when on board a ship or in the theater. Okay.
I don't think I've heard that, but okay.
I have not. A curious superstition that was formerly observed by Scottish fishermen involving the passing of a boat through a rope circle. If it was thought that a boat's fortunes had been blighted by some malevolent force, the vessel was sailed through a large loop of rope passed right under the keel to free it of the evil influence. So there you have it.
I used to, at a point in my life, mostly in my teens, I did a lot of, like, stage acting, both in school and, like, a few, like, productions in local community.
I'm not gonna lie,
or whatever.
You were like, I did a lot of, and we're talking about rope, and you went, and I was like, shibari?
No. No. I was just gonna say, I've been on a stage and, like, in the theater, and I've never heard anyone have, like, any particular superstition about rope, and, like, theater people are very superstitious. Very break-a-leggy and stuff, so I've never heard that about on, like, stage thing, so that's interesting.
Yep, now we know it.
Yep, I learned something. I learned a lot of things today, actually.
Yeah, and then, I don't even know, are we gonna... So, I'm gonna pitch an idea to you, and I guess I'll either leave it in or not.
Okay.
But, if we, like, let's say in this episode, I don't think we have any, post-mortem stuff for this, because we kind of sealed it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking that if we do have a week like that where we don't have a lot of postmortem material, we can always either go back and visit older topics that we haven't, that we thought we wanted to find something more about, or there are certain like small internet mysteries that like pop up on Twitter or whatever else, and we could just like discuss a few of them over the course of the postmortem.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I figured we could record and like whatever episode comes out after this. This will be coming out a few days from now on a Monday, and then the next Monday, which would be our postmortem, since there's not like you're saying, no postmortem content for these topics specifically. I have a couple of like postmortem-y things I've been sitting on for like a while, but our recording schedule has been as such that like it just hasn't happened.
I know, I've been hard to pin down,
but it makes perfect sense to do that. And then like you said, little like baby internet mysteries and things like that. I also had one come up like yesterday on Pulp's like Facebook. Somebody's documenting their house. They believe their house to be haunted and or possessed, kind of a thing.
Yeah, like those small ones. Okay. So, we will be back on schedule and not flake out as much soon. I mean, we're back on schedule right now, as of right now.
And you weren't flaking out. You had like a legitimate medical condition.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have it, but
yeah. But I'll be okay, and we will record because this podcast is my fave.
Hopefully it's your fave.
Yeah. If not, like, let us keep trying to win you over.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
We're getting better every time.
If you have a request or a story that you'd like us to cover, leave us a comment. If you have another story that you want to share with us, like the one that we covered earlier in the episode, leave it in the comments or send us an email. She sent our email earlier. We have a YouTube. Please watch our video broadcast of this on YouTube if video is your thing.
Yeah, it's us just doing a Discord chat in our pajamas a lot.
Yes. And
sometimes we dress up a little bit nicer, but not usually. And it's actually the Ominous Glitch YouTube page, because Ominous Glitch is the umbrella which we work under.
Yes. We also have ominousglitch.com, Ominous Glitch on Instagram, ominous_glitch on Twitter. Am I forgetting anything?
No. But the one thing is that we are going to shamelessly, actually, no, we'll do it with a lot of shame.
Yeah.
Ask you to potentially consider maybe donating to our Ko-Fi. It's ko-fi.com/the13 Club, which is just Roman numeral XIII Club. Yep.
Easy peasy. If you like what we do, if you feel compelled to fuel our caffeine addiction, please consider.
Or help us pay for some of the equipment, and not like this is a fancy podcast, but we did have to buy some stuff for it.
Yeah.
And
our SoundCloud fees.
The SoundCloud Pro, because we couldn't upload very long episodes for a little while, but now we can.
Yay! Help us.
So thanks
keep
for
you listening to a medium quality podcast.
No obligation at all, though.
Nah.
And my favorite thing is when I go on our SoundCloud and I look at our stats and I'm like, holy crap, we broke 100 listens.
Yeah.
Or 500.
Yeah, we did. We broke
not one, but 5.
Listens. Please
500 listens.
share what we're doing.
Thank you so much.
You guys are great.
I'm honestly baffled that we have that many listens at this point. Like, we're on episode 7 and our episodes have been listened to more than 500 times.
That's thanks to a lot of you guys out there. Thank you for listening to us and not thinking we're obnoxious.
We are.
A little bit.
Thanks for
making us feel like
we're
we're not.
aware of it. Yeah, thank you for making us feel like we might be potentially interesting to more than just each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for the millionth time for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit shorter than normal, but that's okay. Check back next Monday for our postmortem episode, and we will see you guys soon.
Good night and goodbye.
Bye.